Hey Gav, it is Tuesday, the 21st of July. I have no topic for you today, so you're just going to get whatever thoughts spew out of my brain, through my mouth, into the camera. So this may shock you, but I am actually an Australian. I haven't actually been to Australia since 2017. Over the last 5 years, I'm trying to do the math now, I've probably spent about 4 months in Australia total, which is very strange. But because I was born in Australia and raised there, again, should not be a shock to you, I have very Australian tastes, and there are certain things that I really like from Australia, and because of the world, I can get a lot of them. So Amazon, for example, provides me with Tim Tams and Vegemite. The Vegemite is ludicrously expensive. This cost me, I think, like $8 or $9 US. It's not a lot of Vegemite. And this cost me about $5 US. They're a little ratty. But because I really enjoy them, I'm okay with paying a premium for some Australiana. But the one thing that I wanted to get and couldn't get was Bundaberg rum. Australian alcohol that's not even well regarded in Australia, but it's when I think of rum, it's what I think of. And so I joined an Australians in LA group and just posted being like, hey, can you get Bundaberg rum anywhere? And was resoundingly made fun of. But one person was like, you know what? I'm flying back from New Zealand tomorrow. I'll see if they have any off duty. And then he landed and got me rum. And because it was brought over directly for me and bought from off duty, this entire bottle cost $30 US, which is about $40 Australian, which is not like cheap, but I think that for this crazy amount of rum is not too bad. I'm not a big drinker, but now I can have a rum and coke very occasionally. The flip side is much more annoying. When I'm in Australia, I can't get, decent internet for one, but the big one for me is decaf Diet Coke. I really like Coke. I enjoy it. This is not a paid video. I don't know why they would pay for our average of 4 views, but Coke, if you're looking for a 4-view sponsor. But I don't really drink much caffeine, and I try to avoid sugar and high-calorie drinks. So Australia has a lot of Diet Coke, and I think you can now sometimes find some decaf Coke, but decaffeinated Diet Coke, just not a thing. That's the big one. I can't think of anything else that when I go back, I'm just like, oh, I want this. Lamb. Lamb is very hard to get in this country. Australia is built on lamb, whereas this country is built on pork. So everywhere you expect to find lamb, here you find pork instead. But my local supermarket does have a very good lamb section. So I'm swimming in lamb, no issues there. I guess board games are very expensive in Australia, but because I'm not planning on living there again, that's not really an issue. Hulu. I very much enjoy my streaming services, and while Netflix is in Australia, and Disney Plus is now in Australia, they don't have Hulu, and Hulu kind of covers all the content that those first two are missing. Yeah, I think just sugar-free stuff generally, because I'm looking over now and I've got sugar-free ketchup or tomato sauce, and I've got sugar-free maple syrup, and I've got sugar-free jam, and I like having all my sugar-free stuff. In Australia, they're not so much on that. It's not that they don't want it, it's just that it's a much smaller population, so these fairly niche products just can't exist in that marketplace. So I very much enjoy the ridiculous size of the American population because it just allows for all kinds of weird niche products. Obviously, the thing I miss most from Australia is the people, but frankly, during the pandemic, I don't see any people, so you might as well be in Australia as across the street as far as I'm concerned. The best thing about LA during lockdown, other than getting to see the Hollywood sign every day when I go for a walk, is that the time zone here lines up with Australia really nicely. Like, I can have half a day hanging out with Australians and the rest of the day hanging out with people on the East Coast. So yeah, if you're gonna get trapped somewhere in a lockdown and you have a lot of Australian and Toronto and East Coast friends, LA is my top recommendation. Anyway, that's all from me. I will see you next time.